When it comes to bad habits, there is no secret, right? Like everybody, is looking for some type of magic pill or some type of hack or something like that. And then honestly, there's nothing to do but just quit whatever it is.
Go ahead.
What?
Fill it out.
My bad habits?
Yep.
This isn't about me, this is about you.
I don't have any bad habits. None.
It's not really what I want to talk about today, but I think we should talk about it. Let's talk about breaking bad habits. What are some of my bad habits that I want to break? Let's talk about it.
Go ahead. I'll put my first one.
Put my first one?
Yeah, go ahead. Put on there. Put on there. Habits is Habits.
Oh,
Just
did you
one
know
B.
that?
Because you told me.
I don't know.
It's not my fault that the public school system failed me, Shauna.
You didn't go to public school. I don't have a bad habit.
Are you kidding me?
Side note, Shauna couldn't think of one. Not one bad habit. It was crazy. And then it was just like, wow. Immediately, I can point out all these things that I wish was not in my life, and I'm not doing anything about it. Like, I'm just okay living my life with, like, in 2 minutes, 12 things that I wish I would not do on a day-to-day basis are on that list, and I do them anyway. So yeah, I think it's time to start pursuing breaking some bad habits. What is on my list, you might say? Okay, let's go over this is not an extensive list. Let's go over my list. Why don't we just start with the very first thing on my list? Just wait for it. Not one. You should do it. There is no but. You just have to get over everybody staring at you with a camera in your hand and thinking, why has he got a camera in his hand? He's weird. There you go. And it's just like, it's okay. I'm doing my own thing. Have a good one. Bad habits. Number one, energy drinks. First, it costs way too much money. If I only drank one energy drink a day, that's $3 a day. In a month, that's $90 in a month. If I only drank one. And yesterday, I drank 3. The day before, I drank 3. That's 9. That's $270 a month just on energy drink. And that's if they were completely good for you. They're not good for you. What is your number one bad habit that you need to change?
My number one bad habit?
Yeah.
Loving people too much.
That's your number one. That's your number one bad. How is that a bad habit?
Because I let you treat me badly, but I still love you.
Oh my Lord. I made a list of a bunch of bad habits in like 2 minutes and she couldn't think of one. I'm like, whatever, you're perfect. Number two, not creating good sleep environments. I have horrible sleep habits. Like, it's not just what time I go to bed. It is like trying to watch things on my phone, not cutting off the phone, not cutting off caffeine too early. I do not create a good sleep environment. I have really bad sleep habits. Number three, fast food. Number four, which is probably like kind of, you can wrap it up into number three, diet. Even when I'm not eating fast food, I eat very crappy things at home. My fifth one on the list is inconsistency, and that's kind of a blanket thing when it comes to vlogging, when it comes to my diet, when it comes to my sleep. I'm very inconsistent. I would like to be more organized. I think not being organized is on this. Oh, it is. That is actually the last thing I wrote down is time management and disorganization. So we'll skip that one in a minute. Not enough time in my Bible. That should be number one on the list, but I was kind of speed writing a little bit. Waking up too late. Phone time, scrolling, YouTube YouTube is a bad habit for me. I watch far too much YouTube. Filtering what I watch. There's some things that I watch that are just not uplifting. They don't necessarily have to be bad, but they're not uplifting. If I watch a full documentary that doesn't have any nudity or cuss words or anything that we would consider bad, but the whole documentary is on like the drug trade or something like that, is it informative? Yes. Is that necessarily uplifting? No, I just learned a whole lot about drugs, and that may not be something that I want to watch or need to watch. Not eating is definitely on this list. I have not, it is now 12, 11, 22, and I still have yet to eat anything. I haven't eaten breakfast, I haven't drank a protein shake, not eating. I have a bad habit of not eating anything, then getting to a place where I'm starving, and that's probably why I eat too much fast food. And then the last thing on my list is not stretching. I do okay going to I go to the gym enough for me. I'm okay with me and how much I go to the gym. I have terrible habits of like the stuff you need to do when you're going to the gym, not just like eating protein and diet and stuff like that, but stretching. You can't just go in there and work out a muscle group really hard and then just never stretch. My body is constantly tight. I just have bad habits, y'all. I have a phone call coming in later today that I'm pretty excited about. My buddy who is an ex-Marine, who, if I was to think about somebody who is like major general and killing bad habit, this dude has the best life habit. Also, he's a Christian, so that helps out a lot. But he's absolutely, as far as like being organized and having drive and having mental focus, like he's the best I know. So I'm having a conversation with him later, and I'm really interested in what he has to say. But I wrote a few notes down. What is my plan on trying to get rid of some of the bad habits in my life? And the first thing I wrote down was be aware. Like, be self-aware. First off, it would be impossible for you to try to get rid of some of the bad habits in your life if you're not even willing to sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, these are things I don't want in our life. And I know we will more than likely never reach a level of perfection the way that Jesus walked, but we can always, I don't think it's okay to ever be content. I don't ever want to be content in my life, not just when it comes to things of God, but also when it comes to like my physical health, when it comes to my productivity. Like, I don't ever want to be complacent in those things. And something that I'm going to have to do is be self-aware. And something that takes is slowing down every now and then and just like taking a full glimpse into my daily walk and saying, are these things productive? Are these helping with productivity? Are these things good things in my life? Be aware, and also taking things to God. Take it to God, because even if it's not something that is a sin, I think that anything that you look at your life and you say, this is not really providing good productivity, this is not providing me any like long-standing happiness, it's not good for me, anything like that, I'm pretty sure that God would be okay helping you to get that out of your life just as much as you want it out of your life. So take it to God. Why in my own personal life, I feel like a lot of the things that I struggle with, I go straight to, let me just mind over matter, willpower this thing. Like, let me just wake up in the morning and try to willpower not drink energy drinks. And can I do that? Yeah, there's been times where I feel like I did not go to my prayer closet and pray for 20 minutes until I didn't want an energy drink anymore. I really wanted one. I just said, no, I'm not going to get one. That's stupid. I don't want to do that today. So there's been times that I've used like what I would call willpower, but why do we not take more things to God? I shouldn't say we, I should just say me. I forgot to mute this. A lot of times I negate the fact that I should take everything to God. Like, God, I know it's not necessarily a sin for me to drink energy drinks, but it's definitely wasting money in my opinion. I don't want this anymore. Can you help me with this? So I think another like first really good step would be take those things to God. You see, and this would be one of those times where I'm about to get myself in a whole lot of trouble because I waited till the last minute and I'm starving. I'm about to go try to find me something to eat. It will not be fast food, but it's definitely probably not going to be, probably, I don't think you can say that. It's probably not going to be good for me. Go ahead, Sass. Go ahead, put your sass out there for all of the ones of tens of people to see. Put it out there.
For us to watch later.
I asked, where did you get that? And your response was,
Take a wild guess.
Take a wild guess. Okay. Is this you creating good habits, Shauna?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't like pizza anyway. They're setting me up for failure. I don't even understand. See, that right there is what I'm talking about. It's gonna take more than willpower, because if I just leave it up to me and I'm like, I'll just willpower myself out of this and I won't eat pizza and drink my energy drink. I need Jesus is what I'm trying to say. I need Jesus to help me, because I don't make good decisions. I'm not saying I'm perfect, just saying I'm trying. At least I'm trying. I'm really not trying. Okay, give me the full download on how do you get rid of or handle bad habits coming from a man, a father, like I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You're never an ex-Marine, but a retired
I know what you mean.
retired Marine. How would I say that?
Yeah, retired Marine.
Okay. How do I handle bad habits in my life?
I think there's like 3 or 4 steps, and I think that I thought about it because I knew this. I front loaded you, so I think that the first one is kind of the hardest for people, and that is that when it comes to bad habits, there is no secret, right? Like everybody, is looking for some type of magic pill or some type of hack or something like that. And then honestly, there's nothing to do but just quit whatever it is. Whatever the thing is really irrelevant. You just don't do that thing anymore. And I know that sounds like the hardest answer, but that's the truth. Like, there's no secret that I quit drinking.
Yeah.
And when I quit drinking, like they told us when I went to the classes and all, they said like, look, honestly, 1 out of 100 people are going to pull this off like the first time and stay that way,
Wow.
And the guy there, he said, most people, we see them 5, 6, 10, 11, 12 times, whatever. And he said, but the people who just, they've made that decision, like I'm done, that's the only way. So the first thing is that, that there's no hack or there's no secret. You have to mentally be ready. And the people who keep going back to their bad habits or keep doing the thing, whether it's not exercising or eating poorly or drinking or alcohol or whatever your guilty sin is,
Drinking too many energy drinks and eating pizzas for lunch.
You just don't want to quit. You don't want to quit. Those things are more of a priority to you. So those things are more important to you than wanting to quit. Your want to quit has to be bigger. So that comes with the part 2. What I would say would be habits leave a hole. Right? I call it the R&R. You can't just remove something. You got to remove and replace it. And
wow.
You got to fill that void. And I think for me, when I used drinking because that was the hardest thing. But when I quit drinking that first year, I went to the gym 7 days a week. And there were days where I'd spend 4 hours in the gym and just kill myself. And I'd leave the gym so fatigued that my brain didn't have time to think about anything else. But for some people, that's God. For some people, that's your hobby, your job. But if you got to find a way to fill that void.
Yeah.
And then I would say that's the first 2. I would say 3. I would say probably take responsibility. Like responsibility is the key to freedom in everything. You got to take ownership of it. You can't blame anything on anyone. Everybody's got drama, right? Like people are like, oh, I drink because my dad drank, or people are like, some history, or I'm fat because of my job, or like, whatever it is. I drink energy drinks because I'm on the road all day. You just got to take responsibility for it. Drink salt water.
Yeah.
Like, and then, even if you want to look at it from a biblical standpoint, people say, well, my father, my mother, but we're called to break these generational curses.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So we just got to do it. I mean, again, so, that would be, there is no hacks or secrets. Habits leave a hole, and then you got to take responsibility. And then, with responsibility, a great thing that they teach a lot of addicts and alcoholics and stuff in recovery is accountability. And it's hard to be accountable to yourself when you're the one with the problem. So you have to have somebody to be accountable to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need somebody who holds you accountable.
Yeah.
And whether that's like a brother, a friend, or something like that. For some people, it's a spouse. For some people, like in AA and stuff, they say, who are you doing it for? And well, they kind of say you're not doing it for somebody, but I think you have to do it for somebody. Like for some people, it's your kids, right?
Yeah.
Like think about it. Okay, you said energy drinks. Energy drinks are going to kill you. So. Do you want to be here for them? Do you want your son, when he's in the thick of life at 35, 38, at your age now, whatever it is, to be able to call you for that sage, for that advice,
Wow.
Got to get rid of the energy.
Wow.
So, wow. I mean, I talk fast, man, but I would say there is no secret. There's no hacks. Habits leave a hole. You got to remove and replace it.
Yeah.
Responsibility is the key to freedom, and accountability is finding someone to hold you accountable.
Okay. I got one question for you.
That was fast.
So here is here is my thought process. A lot of things in our life, I feel like we try to willpower quit. If we could willpower quit, and I'm gonna give this thing a caveat. If we could willpower quit everything, we would not need the help from God. What would you
True.
say? Like, what would be your? There's some things in my life I feel like I could willpower quit, but I don't want to use the statement I don't need God, because of course I need God. But like, let's just say energy drinks. I could just make up my mind and be like, dude, stop freaking buying them. You're wasting money and you're drinking too many of them and it's useless. But what if somebody watches this YouTube video and they're dealing with something that's a lot heavier scale than that? They don't feel like they can willpower quit. Like, what would be your God input on that? Say somebody's dealing with alcohol, somebody's dealing with drugs or something like that. What's the best way to incorporate? Would you say take all those things and also start incorporating God into that? Or what did
Oh
did
yeah.
you have a walk with God while you were quitting all those things?
So I had a walk with God, right? And when you go, I never did AA. Okay, listen. When I was quitting drinking, like I said, I walked into the first day and I sat there and they gave me the statistics, and then I literally just said, "Nah, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done." What I decided to do, and it's crazy because for 2 decades I couldn't. For 2 decades I would drink every day, and but I got off track there for a second, but they said you need a higher calling, and they literally said, if you're a religious type person, how your higher calling is God, but you have to have something that's valuable to you. Like I said, you got that accountability thing, but your kids or something, you got to have something. Spirituality works for everybody, but initially, whatever that thing is, we can circle back to that. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
can circle
Yeah.
back to. My goal for you would be, yeah, obviously spirituality, God first,
Yeah.
but initially you got to beat the thing.
Yeah. I got you.
I don't know, and I think God has a purpose in everything. You know that sometimes He takes you out of the fiery furnace. Sometimes He leaves you in. And we don't know why He does what He does.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question, but I mean, you do need a higher calling,
Yeah.
and you can't force God on anybody. We can wish for it and pray for it, but for me, it worked. For me, it was 100% God. It was fitness and faith. That's why
Okay.
that's my two big things. It's any man I talk to, fitness and faith come first.
Come on, man. Come on.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Everything else, because as a man, if you get your faith in line and you get your fitness, and that's mental and physical fitness in line, everything else falls into place,
Come on, man.
right? So you got to be on, and that's the truth. I mean, you got those three things. That's it, man. You're ready to stand on that wall, and then you don't need addictions. You don't. I mean, you're bigger than addictions.
Yeah. And that
So
carries on to, I would assume, that carries on to you being a man of the household, you being a better father. Once you get your mind to where you can mentally get yourself in the gym every day, you can mentally tell yourself no to all the things that you need to tell yourself no to. How much better of a father, of a family man are you?
yeah, and the no becomes easier, man. You know that, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like sin. The closer you get to God, I mean, you're detached from sin. You shun sin. You know what I mean? And the more mentally and physically fit you get, the more you shun all those addictions. You don't even consider them.
Come
Like I
on,
look
man.
at stuff and go, I don't even think about it. I forgot that stuff exists.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Now, if
Yeah.
I get back in my ways, like if I got back in my ways and I let that mindset slip up, I could be a drunk again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? The sin is still very real. I'm still very much an alcoholic and very much addicted to it. I have just decided that that's a no for me.
Okay.
Hey, and I don't know how this works with some other addictions or some other things you're trying to quit, but I learned with alcohol, right? A saying that stuck with me and I still use is I have the ability to say no to the first one. I can say no to the first one, and then after that, it's game on. That first drink, that first cigarette, whatever it is, I can say no to the first one, but once I say yes to it, I have no control of the ones that follow.
Wow, dude. That's really good.
Yeah.
Do you think
So
that you think that's spiritual in a way? Like you open the door and you give yourself to it?
yes. Why do you think they call alcohol spirits? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like
Wow. Wow.
that's why they call it that, bro.
Yeah.
Go read. I don't have the Muslim or whatever word for alcohol, but go look up the word alcohol and where it's derived from after this conversation. If I
Wow.
was sitting in front of the computer, I'd tell you right now. But absolutely, man, any type of thing that's holding you down or trying to kill you. Why do people smoke, right? I saw the thing that said the devil wants you to smoke because he wants to take away your oxygen, your lung, your ability to speak, because he doesn't want you talking about God. He doesn't want you sharing the good word.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like that with everything, every sin, of course. Like all those sins are from the devil, and all
Yep.
anxiety, depression, and all that. That's not from God. Those are spirits.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we have to shun those. You know, and if your brain's telling you it's not for you, you shouldn't be doing it, then you just got to say, all right, God, I'm not, and be done with it.
Can you take everything that we just talked about and apply it to bad habits that are not necessarily killing you? I mean, they are in a way, but I don't mean like people would not look at them as so severe. Like, hey man, I watch too much YouTube. I scroll on TikTok too much. You
Yeah.
use the R&R for that? Did you say
Yeah.
R&R?
Yeah. R&R, remove
Yeah.
and replace.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Anything that's an addiction, if your brain, man, listen, I tell everybody, if you think it's a problem, it's a problem.
Come on.
I mean, there's no other way around it. And if you
Yeah.
keep going back to it, you're just giving in. You, right? You
Amen.
know what's the problem. We all got them. But,
Yeah.
you
Wow.
know, but yeah, I mean, you just got to wake up and be like, all right, I'm not going to do this no more. And then you find something to replace it with. And, but honestly, there is no hack, man. When the guy said it to me several times, and then I finally and I tell everybody every day, that's the truth, man. I just don't do it anymore.
Come on.
That's it.
Amen.
Because, so don't, you know.
Dude,
But,
that was even better than I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be some fire because it's you, but that was even better than I thought it was going to be.
heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good.
I appreciate it, man. I sat down for like 2 minutes and wrote down a list of bad habits. And I just took
Yeah.
2 minutes and I was just thinking, what are my bad habits? And dude, I
Yeah.
had like 12 on the list instantly. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm like, okay, we need to start knocking these out one by one. And then I really
Yeah.
started contemplating, thinking about it from the Bible and everything like that. Like, all right, how do we tackle bad habits? So I appreciate your wisdom, bro.
There's no secret, man. Everybody would be like, oh, well, I'm going to quit smoking by taking this pill or whatever. Well, now you got to get rid of the pill.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you didn't fix anything. You replace it with something else that sucks.
Amen.
So, all right, buddy, I love you. I'm going to go to work.
Love you too, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
My third plan of action is to have an actual plan. I think I'm planning on planning, I think is what I'm really saying. I've realized after looking at this list, a lot of things on this list are just poor planning. It is not having a clear plan, not being very organized. Well, actually, that's one of the things that's very clearly on the list. All of those things I feel like can be fixed with having a plan. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting some caffeine first thing when you wake up in the morning. There's a lot. How many people wake up in the morning, they're like, first thing I want is a cup of coffee. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do have substitutions for energy drinks. When I first wake up in the morning, I don't have to run off and get an energy drink. Having a plan for that, having some things around the house that I can drink to get a little bit of caffeine when I first wake up in the morning is a good plan. Planning out my meals, that is a phenomenal way to like get away from eating fast food every day. Don't wait until you're in the middle of, like I say, crisis. I don't mean crisis. Don't wait until you're starving to decide what you're going to eat. Don't wait until the craving for an energy drink hits you before you've already made up your mind and you have a plan. How am I going to avoid this? Something for me that is going to be a big deal that I'm focusing on as far as like mindset today is don't have a plan B. And it's really simple, but it goes a little bit deeper in my mind, and I want to explain that. If you, in your mind, already say, well, if I need to, I can run get some fast food. Well, if I need to, I can just run and get me an energy drink from the store. Or if I don't have anything else to do, I can just watch Netflix. Like, having a plan B is setting up for failure, but it goes deeper than that, because in my mind, it means that it's okay. Let me explain a little bit better. I sat down and I wrote down a list of things, and I'm like, these things are bad. They're not okay in my life. Drinking these energy drinks, watching endless Netflix, endless scroll, these are not good things. Why would I have that as a plan B? Why would I say, well, in worst case scenario, I'll just go ahead and do it? To me, it just doesn't make sense of why I would sit down and write all these things and be like, these are not productive. They're not good. They're just, as my son and daughter would say, yucky. Why then would I wake up tomorrow and just be like, meh, it's okay? Why would I consciously be like, I just want these bad things in my life? And it segues really good to like the last thing that I want. It's not last in priority, but the last thing I wanted to talk about was bringing a little bit of scripture in there, bringing some Bible in. What does the Bible have to say about bad habits? Why would I allow those things into my life if I am saying, hey, that's not okay? And I think it's because of what we like to call in the Christian world flesh. It just feels good. It doesn't always feel good and is fun to sit down and read your Bible. You have to stop. Like, there's not always instant gratification in prayer and seeking after God. And I don't think that's heresy to say, because we're all honest and real. There's a lot of times when I open my Bible and I'm just like, my inner fleshly self would rather be watching Netflix. Now, I know in the grand scheme of things, I know like bird's eye view and a perspective, this is way better than Netflix. I'm not saying that Netflix is better than the Bible. I'm just saying sometimes my feelings tell me they are. And that's why I want to go to the Word. So when we talk about why would we just let things back into our life, if we've already made up my mind, this is a bad habit. It's not a good habit. And I think the answer to that is flesh. We spend far too much time gratifying the flesh, and it's not easy to crucify the flesh. One of the first scriptures that I thought about in the whole area of bad habits is, and I'm thinking about mindsets too, like this isn't bad, I need to get in a completely different mindset when it comes to all these things, is the scripture in Philippians. You're probably familiar with it. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, it says, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, and of good report. It says, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise. Another translation says, if there be any excellence, it says, think on these things. It's not always fun. It's not always fleshly fulfilling to constantly keep your mind on things that are going to be good, things that are going to be pure. Sometimes it's not fun to think about, I'm going to eat this clean on wheat sandwich than it is thinking about how much I want a Big Mac. Now, some people are like, that's disgusting. I'd much rather have a salad. I get that. But for me, it's not the case. And that's where I fall short sometimes, is because I don't always want to think about the things that are going to be good for me. And last but not least, I want to hit you with a scripture in Galatians. Galatians 5:16, it says, walk in the Spirit and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. The Amplified says, walk in the Spirit and you will not carry out the desire of the sinful nature. It goes a whole lot deeper than what I am prepared to just let's sit down and let's talk about the flesh versus the spirit. But I think that the more that we sit here and we talk about all the bad habits in our life and we talk about what's the best way to create better habits, I think it's all going to boil down to something that is going to be similar to, or a mindset that is based on that scripture. And it is pursuing the things of the Spirit. Constantly think about what is the more godly thing to do. And I hate to put I hate to keep going there, because I feel like sometimes it gets, I don't know the way to put it. Like, I hate comparing like sin, good, bad, God versus like, we're talking about energy drinks here. And I know some people would be willing to debate me like a lot and say that is absolutely sin and all that. But in a day-to-day walk, some things that we would not consider to be absolute evil, but what is a better way to go? I think that it's always going to boil down to the more time that we spend being Spirit-led, the more time that we spend going to God about everything that we do in our life, all of our actions, even something that seems small like our diet, which I think that that's not necessarily as small of a thing that what we make it out to be sometimes, because the body, golly, do you even talk? Because the Bible talks about taking care of our body, but the more time we spend going to God and being Spirit-led, it says we won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. It says that in general, the thing that rises up and says that I would rather do this thing because it feels better, it tastes better, it's more fun, it says that we won't do those things. And it kind of goes back around to, I think it was the second thing I said, taking things to God. The more time that we spend just in relationship, just pursuing God, we're going to find that it's not as hard, because this is a fleshly thing. And I keep going back to this because it's a simple illustration, but we'll find that it's not that hard to crucify the flesh in even some of these areas that we wouldn't consider to be absolute sins, but it's just easier. It's easier to treat our body right. It's easier to lay off the Netflix. It's easier to stop scrolling and saying, you know what? I'm going to do something more productive. I know I said I was done, but I want to say this really quick. I wrote this down. Nobody reaches perfection in a day. I'm a all out kind of guy. Like when I make up my mind to do something, I want to go banana sandwich. And a lot of times that produces failure. And what I'm trying to do is because I go from A to Z in one day. I'm not saying I want to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, well, instead of 4 energy drinks, I'm just going to do 3. No, I'm going to try to do no energy drinks tomorrow. But I also have like 12 things on this list. If I wake up tomorrow and I'm like, I don't drink any energy drinks, but I still scrolled a little bit, you know what? I'm going to consider that a win. My ultimate goal is I don't want any of this in my life, but don't get discouraged if you make out a list and you're like, I see all these bad things and you're like, oh, well, I still have 11 bad things, but I was only able to do better in one area. Guys, nobody reaches perfection in a day. That's a win. Don't let it don't let it breed into complacency, but that's a win. So let's work on, I say let's. Do you have a problem with energy drinks too? Work on just one area at a time, or slowly work into these things and allow God to produce and allow God to help you create better habits in your life.